Hey y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here with my review of episode 5 of Obi Wan Kenobi. Remember last week when I said that I was still holding out hope for this show because there was 2 episodes left? Again, score 300 for Disney, 0 for Jay. It's no. For the non-spoiler part of my review, I can tell you that this episode is on par with last week's, at least in my opinion. With awkward action sequences, wooden and out-of-place dialogue, and more examples of plot armor than I care to mention, I gotta give this one a 4 out of 10. Obi Wan Kenobi, so far, might go down as one of the most forgettable Star Wars shows to be released. Because as awful as Book of Boba Fett was, I can't bring myself to forget it. This, however, is already pretty close to out of sight, out of mind. Like I said, it gets a rating of 4 out of 10. Let's get into it. We start off with a flashback to the Clone Wars era, which is what we've all been waiting for this entire show. And it's a sparring match between Anakin and Obi-Wan back in the good old days that we're gonna see several different parts of throughout the episode. I was pretty stoked to see this flashback sequence purely because I was starting to think that they had only brought Hayden on board as part of the marketing initiative for the show. Now, this flashback ends up being a memory that Vader is revisiting. He's interrupted by Reva, who lets him know that the tracker she planted in Lola has been successful and that they've tracked Obi-Wan and his friends to Jabiim. This naturally results in her being promoted to Grand Inquisitor, which she seems pretty stoked about. Not that that'll last. Back on Jabiim, Obi-Wan, Leia, Tala, and the other 2 characters that I don't care about are landing. Haja, played by Kumail Nanjiani, makes his return. I love him as an actor. I think he's funny and very talented, but as a character, it's completely out of place in Star Wars, and often not funny. One thing that I thought was pretty cool about this episode is that they actually used that flashback to the sparring match between Obi-Wan and Vader as a transition between both characters in modern day. Moving right along, naturally, Lola, the bugged droid, ends up making escape for the gang and all the people looking for safety in the path. Pretty much impossible. But Obi-Wan's pep talk and the fact that the stakes in this show are so incredibly low lets us know that, hey, it's all gonna be okay. The Imperial transports and the Star Destroyer arrive, resulting in Grand Inquisitor Reva yelling at stormtroopers and commanding them to light 'em up, which I started wondering if I was watching a 90s B-movie or if I was watching Star Wars. I like Reva, but this is the least Grand Inquisitor behavior I've seen so far. Thanks to the cringy, wooden, and unfunny dialogue between Roken and Haja, I honestly, at this point, started to root for the Empire to win, even though I knew it would never happen. Lines like, "I'm not a babysitter." Really, Disney? After receiving a transmission from Bail Organa, Obi-Wan is left reeling, which is the perfect time for Tala to come in and share her tragic backstory. That way, if anything happens to her, we might feel a little bad. As it turns out, during a conversation between Obi-Wan and Grand Inquisitor Reva, the plot twist we all saw coming is finally revealed. Reva was in fact a youngling who managed to survive Order 66 by playing dead. Not only does she blame Obi-Wan for not helping, she's also been secretly furious at Anakin for all these years for what he did to her friends, and this is really a vengeance mission. This moment, which could have been super powerful, is really just chock full of crappy dialogue and unengaging music. And the scene is only redeemed by how incredible Ewan McGregor is in this show. I will sing his praises all day long. I don't like this show very much, but Ewan McGregor is an incredible actor, and he is really just a master even when you give him a script this lacking. Now, once the troopers make their way in, civilians are mostly saved by plot armor. We're also still being force-fed sitcom-level comedy by Haja and Leia. I was expecting the laugh tracks to start up any minute. But finally, some intensity. Tala is shot by a stormtrooper. The droid, Ned B, sacrifices himself to save her, and then she sacrifices herself so that Obi-Wan and the others can get away. And thank goodness she told us her backstory so that we might actually care about this rando that happened to run into Obi-Wan. Let me just wipe a tear a little bit. Now, Obi-Wan attempts to make an ally out of Reva, he surrenders, and just as quickly gets away while Darth Vader is literally just walking through this tunnel. Now, Vader arrives as the transport is taking off, and in this actually really cool display of power, pulls the damn thing down, destroys it, only to find it's empty, and the one with all the good guys in it is taking off literally like 60 yards behind. Because a powerful, super sensitive with the Force Sith Lord could not sense that this transport was empty, and the one that has the target that he can literally feel in the Force is back there. While he's probably cursing himself for this foolish mistake, Reva comes and tries to kill him, which this entire scene literally plays out like Reva flipping all over the place, screaming and trying to whack him with a lightsaber, like a kid trying to hit a piñata, while Vader shoves her away using the Force with very minimal effort. Eventually, he gets bored of playing with her and stabs her. As she's dying, the real Grand Inquisitor returns, which actually was a huge relief because it means that Disney did not completely rewrite the canon that was written in Rebels. Naturally, though, Reva doesn't die because she needs a redemption arc, and the Empire is notoriously bad at wrapping up loose ends. She finds Bail's message, seemingly discovers the truth about Anakin Skywalker's children, as well as Luke's exact location, and the show closes out on a scene of Luke sleeping peacefully. I have to say, this show has just gotten weaker and weaker for me. At this point, I'm still watching because I like to do reviews, and because I'm hoping that they'll really wow me at the end. But this is just disappointing. Again, the writing is weak, the action sequences look like they're just getting worse. This is starting to feel more and more like something that a fan could have produced. And fans make really good work, but this feels like not great fan work. I had pretty high hopes for this show, especially based on the earlier episodes, but this is just not cutting it for me. My rating for episode 5, like episode 4, is a 4 out of 10. I'm still hoping that somehow they'll save it with episode 6, but I'm not really sure I have much faith anymore. That's all from me. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on episode 5 of Obi Wan Kenobi in the comments below.